Hey everybody, welcome to the Infinite Regression, the place where all disappointment lives. Yes, disappointment big and small. It lives here in the Infinite Regression. Anyway, hey, look at this. Islandcraft with Rem Pemberton of the Clemson Pembertons. Anyway, we're going to do this. First, we got to play the theme song.
This has always been the theme song. This has always been the theme. This has always been the theme song. This has always been the theme. Cha.
Yes, the cha is what makes it happen. Anyway, people, I can't really see my levels. Hey, levels, how you doing? Being blocked by a PS3 I'm working on. Anyway, because, sometimes you go to freaking Goodwill and there's a PS3 there, and then you pick it up, then you fix it. This is the dirtiest video game console I've ever seen. Filthy, like absolutely disgustingly gross. I don't even remember what I was in the middle of doing here. Oh, I was digging up an island. That's what I was doing. Oh, by the way, so this is done. Made my floors. That's why my bed is floating and why these are floating. These I laid down before I started doing the floor, so these are on sand. But everything else has a torch with carpet on top of it, which just messes with Minecraft's head. They're like, wait a minute, the what now? And so it goes a full block up from that. So my bed is in the middle of the air, but I can still totally get it and whatnot. Wait, where did I put copper? I think I had some copper smelting somewhere. Anyway, regardless, go find my copper. So my island's been getting bigger. I took out my house. Oh, sheep. Yeah. I visited another island. The island beyond this one. So there's this island, there's an island past it, and on the island past it, they had sheep. I, by that point, had killed the, traveling merchant, I don't know, several times. And so I was able to grab a handful of sheep, bring them back, and when you start with more than two, it does not take very long for that population explosion to get underway. Oh, hello, fishy. Anyway, regardless. So that's more or less what's been going on since last I recorded an episode of this. Anyway, I'm just full of anger and frustration because of how terrible my freshman class was today. And it's a real pain in the neck, and I was talking to students about this, and I was telling him, I was like, you have no idea how, wait, I forget how to do this. What is it? This? Yeah, it's that. Anyway, regardless. Here, hold on, let me try again. Anyway, that's why I can't make copper stairs very fast, because I have to go boop, 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 and then I get cut copper, and then I have 3 blocks of copper that I can't quite cut. Anyway, oh, hello, you got leathern boots. I didn't get any leathern armor, but I killed you. Oh, frick, that was probably loud as crap because I never adjusted. Oh, yeah. Hold up. Oh, this guy's got gold armor. What? Didn't get anything from him either. Anyway, I gotta adjust my levels. Hold up. Okay, sorry. Can't have it be loud as frick. That's ridiculous. Um, just trying to have it be normally loud. Oh, it's getting dark outside. Anyway, people, so yeah, today was really frustrating because you know how freshmen aren't people. Like, I was sitting there, my TA is back. He's been out, he's at a broken leg. He's been out for a while. And anyway, like, he's a really good dude, really quiet, mellow. He's a senior, right? And so he the funny thing about him is that he's just very chill and very mellow and doesn't you know uh he's not mean spirited or bad or terrible or anything that freshmen tend to be. And so multiple times today I just had to stop and look over at him and be like, "Do you see what I'm freaking dealing with?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." And at the end of class, he's like, "Yeah, they don't know that you can just let class happen." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, they weren't letting me hold class within my own classroom. I was being held hostage by the worst people I know. They're just terrible, little tyrants, and they're so entitled. Like, however entitled you think kids are these days, it's worse than you think. And the worst examples of that live in my freshman classroom. And I swear to God, like, it is a chore being around some of those people. Not all of those people, but enough of them to where it's like, could you freaking not? Like, I just need you to shut up. I just need you to shut the frick up. Everything you say is terrible. Your every instinct is wrong. You don't know how to express basic humanity toward another human being. So I'm gonna need you to shut the frick up and just not talk anymore until you graduate. Like, it's seriously, that's what it feels like. Anyway, I don't want to spend all my time complaining about those people because, like, it's just bad enough. Anyway, I have enough problems in my life, and like, no, I still haven't heard back on, disciplinary nonsense, which, by the way, is bullcrap because, like, those kids in there, like, first of all, my principal does not believe at all that it's possible that those kids don't like me on a personal level. And I'm like, no, you should stop in sometime. You should see the level of disdain that they have for me as a human. Like, not just, it goes well beyond, like, your standard, like, oh, I don't like him that much. It's like I actively try to wreck his life. Like, honestly, they have. I mean, for God's sake, they try to get me fired and whatnot. Like, they would be delighted if I were fired. And so, yeah, they're just petty little tyrants is what they are. And honest to God, it's a chore having to put up with a lot of them. And like I said, they're not all that way. I mean, God, one of them today, like, he asked to go see the nurse, and I was like, yeah, why you need to go see the nurse? And he's like, these freaking people are giving me a headache. And I'm like, you and me both. You and me both. Anyway, so, yeah, it is some ridiculous nonsense. And, I'm just about had it with these people. Like, I am counting the days until I no longer have to be responsible for them or their friggin' nonsense. So yeah, it's terrible, and I will remind everybody that I was not hired to teach freshmen. I was not, and honest to God, like, it's ridiculous. You know, in addition to the other ways in which the current administration has a general lack of respect for the staff, like, um, one of my colleagues, like, here's how this crap went down. So, like, they needed an extra weights class. I mean, I guess they did. They say they do. I think we could live without it, but they needed one, right? So they gave one of the other English teachers a weights class, even though they are not certified to teach it. And then they gave a sophomore class to a teacher who doesn't normally teach sophomores. And they gave a freshman class to me. And the feeling was that, like, hey, you're just doing us this favor one time and then it'll be done, right? Well, it weren't that much of a freaking favor because I keep having to freaking do it. And when I asked about it and was like, hey, I was told that this was not going to be a permanent thing, they were like, well, freshman classes keep getting bigger and, it's the whole thing. So I'm not going to change anything. Like, my principal, like, in his first year, he's like, well, it's my first year. I'm just not looking to change anything too quickly. And, like, and then since then, he's not even willing to consider the possibility that, like, it might not be a good idea to put someone who primarily deals with, people who have brains in their head, to put someone like that with freshmen, and like, I'm telling you, freshmen don't want to deal with me. I don't want to deal with them. And, between us, we don't want to deal with each other. And yet we have to every frigging year. And it's painful for everybody. But most of all me, because, these freshmen are jerks to every teacher they have, not just me. But, like, there's no possibility of it getting better, and I wasn't hired to do it, It's just, it's ridiculous. Nah, that's not gonna happen because then I would have to take over as department chair, and I guarantee you, Cash Money, I may have been, like, out of all the English teachers in our department right now, aside from our department chair, I have been there the longest. And, unbeknownst to the principal and the powers that be, she'll be looking to retire sooner rather than later, which is not a surprise to anyone who's freaking met her. She's got one foot in retirement as is. Like, she doesn't spend a single second longer on campus than she absolutely has to. She doesn't take up work that she doesn't have to take up, and it's not like she's a completely disagreeable person or anything. It's just like her husband is already retired. And so, like, she is living with a retired person every day. And, every time she has to put up with bullcrap at school, you could just see that, you could see her brain going like, I could just freaking retire, and I guarantee you I would be doing the same thing if my lovely wife were retired. Of course, we are both teachers, so there's very little possibility of a situation in which, like, one of us is retired and the other one isn't. Unless, of course, one of us gets ridiculous and, like, you know, wrestles a student to the ground over a cell phone, and which, let's be honest, I'm the one who's more likely to do something ridiculous like that. But anyway, like, yeah, it's just
technically, I could tire before you
because you've been doing it longer. Yeah, you're farther up the scale. Anyway, but yeah, is not great a lot of times, and you know, I just, yeah. You know that I, like, if you're listening to this, you know I use this for journaling purposes, and I just have to tell you how freaking depressing it is to, you know, be someone with, you know, something to offer, something to give, and to just perpetually have it thrown back in your face. You know what I'm saying? By people who are just the friggin' worst. So yeah, it's problematic. It is absolutely problematic. Okay, let's see if I can make like one cut copper stair. Yeah, I'm making. I want there to be cut copper stairs on my entrance. Like that's what I want for. Oh, whoa. Come on. Oh shoot! Did I? Oh, I destroyed the pickaxe. That much is for sure. But like, I forgot that, like, I'm gonna need some sort of actual substrate under here. Otherwise, like, it is not gonna work out. Okay, we'll just put a couple of planks of wood because that's what we got. You won't really notice it. Oh, wandering traitor. I gotta go murder him. Wait. Hold up. It's the middle of the night. I gotta go to sleep and then go murder him. Wait, and because I'm underground, did he do what he did last time where his where his alpacas drowned and wait, where is he? Where is he? Oh god, he in the middle of the water. No, they're still alive. Well, one of them anyway. Where's the other one? Yeah. So I want that leather. I ain't doing this for free. Just the lead? Really? No leather. Like, it's the only reason I kill you, dude. It's because your alpacas give me leather. That's it. Like, aside from that, there's no reason to even have you around. So I don't have any other source of leather on this island. Maybe if I get cow spawns on that other island, maybe, but ain't happening yet. Anyway. Okay. I want to see how this looks. Oh, are you freaking serious? I went and did the... Mm-hmm.
You just gotta break the carpet, right?
Yeah, I guess I can't have the carpet there. I mean, I'm hoping those will oxidize and turn, you know, bluish green. This is my hope. But I'm like a third of the way there. Third of the way to not having ugly staircase, you know? Having something nice all up in here. Anyway, so yeah, that's what that's been. Let me go throw this in my miscellaneous barrel, because I think I have my leads. Yeah, I got my leads in here. Let's chuck that in there. Got to have a good junk barrel. Like, just, I don't know where else to put this. Like, how many golden berries do I think I'm going to get? Anyway, yeah. This is feeling low today, because, like, things just didn't go well, and I'm feeling it. Sometimes you're just feeling low, and things ain't good, today, for the second day in a row, roughly half of my drama class didn't show up, which is awesome, also sarcastic. But, we need people to show up. This is basic stuff. We need people to be there because we need to practice, because we are putting on a play. And they are going to be off book soon. And I need them to know their freaking lines. And more than that, I need them to know their blocking. And I need them to have ample practice of doing it. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with professionals, you can just hand them the script and then tell them, hey, memorize this and have it memorized when you show up for the first day of practice. And that is how professionals approach a job like that. You can ask them to just have it memorized when they show up so that you can work on the finer points of performance, because I tell my students this all the time. The real magic of theater does not begin until the scripts are out of their hands, and by the time they get their scripts out of their hands, we'll have a month left till we perform. But here's the other problem, is that we'll have Veterans Day and we'll have Thanksgiving in between. So we'll have 2 holidays that will interrupt that. And also, more than likely, I will get suspended sometime in there. I just keep waiting for that friggin' hammer to fall. And I doubt very much if admin has any idea how stressful it is just waiting. Just being like, come on, suspend me. We all know you're going to do it. Just friggin' do it. I don't need to have a 4th meeting about this. Just send me a friggin' email and be like, don't come in tomorrow. I can take it. I'm a man. And look, I recognize the ridiculousness of the situation. I shouldn't have lost my temper, and I should never lose my temper. But also, them friggin' kids is tiring, and they are a pain in the butt. And so, it is just the absolute worst dealing with them, And it's funny because, I've also, if I'm being perfectly honest, back in the day, in order for people to be in my honors class, they had to pass a test. They had to show that they had aptitude. They had to show that they were in, the upper echelon of their graduating class in terms of, first of all, desire to be in an honors class, because they, actually take the initiative to take the test. And in many cases, it's their parents who are taking the initiative. But, honestly, half of how you get an honors student is having honors level parents. And I'm not even joking. That has been studied. That parenting is the number one. It is the number one factor driving student achievement more than anything. People look at our schools and they're like, "Why are they so broken?" And I just want to hold up a mirror and be like, "Why are you so broken? And why the frick can't you give me some decent kids to teach?" You know, I mean, it is ridiculous, and it's funny because one of my honors kids was like, because yesterday we played a review game, reviewing just concepts from Gilgamesh so that they could take the unit test. But they take the unit test for one reason and one reason only, and that is so that they can show that they have the background knowledge that they need in order to write the paper. Because if they don't understand the book well enough to write the paper, then we have failed somewhere down the line. Anyway, and I knew for a fact that there were going to be multiple people who weren't going to be prepared to write the paper, and I knew who those people were going to be. And quite frankly, it's funny because we had an interesting showdown with one of those people. The low scorer in the class on the test was a girl who spends as little time on the inside of my classroom as she possibly can. And the fun thing about honors students, and other teachers may disagree with me on my methods and whatnot, but I see it as doing the kids a huge favor in terms of introducing them to themselves and their work ethic. Because you need to know who you are and you need to know what your work ethic is. And if you can figure that out before you get to college, you will be so much better off. Because it makes a huge difference, and so yeah, I've had students fail my honors class. I had my all-time favorite. I always share her story, and she says that I can share her name because she doesn't care, but I never share her name because I feel like that's inappropriate for me as a teacher to share actual name with the story, but sharing the story, sure. Anyway, but every day in my class, she was watching Netflix on her phone. And I would even call her out for it and be like, "Hey, you're watching Netflix on your phone instead of paying attention and writing the papers that you need to write." And she'd be like, "I'm not watching Netflix," and then would proceed to watch Netflix from a vantage point that from my desk I could see that that's exactly what she was doing. And I was worried that this kid's mom might be upset with me at the end of the semester because her grade, hovered around a D minus for a bit before it finally took the plunge and went under. And by that point, she was so far behind and had so many assignments to make up. It's because and also her grade hit failing on the college side of the class because they get a college grade and a high school grade, and there are some high school requirements, like grammar instruction, journal writing, vocabulary, that kind of stuff that we have to do for high school that doesn't count for the college grade. And so she was doing some of that business so that she could keep herself afloat, high school wise. And so, and so the college grade is private. I can't share that with parents, because that's the way that college works. A student's grades are private, and they are college grades are private. You can find them out. If Oh, he got magical armors. I think I'm gonna have to hit him in the face. Oh, come on. Okay. Get lined up to where I can run away from this idiot. Yeah, one thing I don't like about creepers anymore is look at how crookedy they go. Oh, I didn't get jack crap from that guy. Anyway, so yeah, like I consider it one of my most important duties to give those kids the actual college experience. And the actual college experience is if you don't roll your butt out of bed and get to your 7:40 class or whatever friggin' ridiculous time of day you've got a class, most people wouldn't sign up for them 7:40 classes. Anyway, wake up for your, 2 in the afternoon class or whatever ridiculous friggin' thing you got going on. And if you couldn't get yourself to do it, then nobody was going to do it for you. Like I had a friend who went to college on a full scholarship, and he flunked out hard because he didn't go to any of his classes. Because he started having a lot of fun because he went to NAU, and NAU has hippies. And the hippies just hang out in the woods and do hippie things all day. And he's like, oh my God, you hippies have the right idea about this. And yeah, that's how he flunked out. It was, in his first year of college, he just failed. And, and then that was that. He didn't, he lost his scholarship. He, I don't know where his life has gone from there. I haven't been in contact with him since. But, like, he had a golden opportunity and he threw it away hard. And college was like, well, your check cleared. So, it's not our job to force you to go and get the education that you paid for. We will be offering it at the dates and times that we told you we would be offering it. And if you don't freaking show up, that's your problem. And if you show up, but you're like, texting people the whole time and not taking notes, if you're sitting there in the front row watching Netflix, like that's you. That's you. And, so I tell my kids that that's the way I approach it. It's not a secret. It's not a surprise. I tell them the horror stories of kids who have failed for all sorts of stupid reasons, and the one girl who bombed my unit test today did so because she's never on the freaking inside of my classroom, and it's pathetic that she's not on the inside of my classroom more, and she knows it, and it's funny because one time we counted the number of times that she would find excuses to leave my classroom. 6 times. 6 times in a single class period. And which is insane. That's like beyond what a freshman would do. Anyway, so yeah. This is ridiculous. And guess what? Her grade shows it. Like, you think she's gonna be back? Like, is she gonna be back in my anyway, is she gonna be back in my 102 class? Doubtful. Very doubtful, because she's not doing the work, But, with freshmen, you can't do it like that, because if you give them enough rope to hang themselves, they will all hang themselves because they are that dumb. and that irresponsible. And so like you have to actually,
Blame you for not waking
and
up.
yeah, exactly. Like that's the rub. Like yesterday I gave them notes, cuz we're getting into our Shakespeare unit. We're going to read Romeo and Juliet. And so yeah, yesterday I give them notes on William Shakespeare, his life, his time, so that they can understand a little bit where we're coming from. Standard stuff any English teacher would do getting into this kind of a unit. And anyway, I'm giving them notes, and a couple of the girls fall asleep in the middle of my notes. And they know that they have a test or a quiz on these notes, and it's an open note quiz. And they blamed me for not waking them up. And I'm like, nah, I let you sleep because you, first of all, when you're awake, you're freaking terrible. Some of the worst students I've ever had, number one. And number two, like, it is your responsibility, not mine. Like, I swear to God, the shoe is so far on the other foot these days when it comes to education that, like, there are people who would be like, yeah, why didn't you wake them up? You're not doing a good job as a teacher if you're not waking up your students. It's like, I'm sorry. They knew what they were facing down, and normally I would wake them up. But you know what? When I say multiple times, there will be a test on this information, and you need to write down, like, I've even gone through the trouble of red noting it, saying, like, the information in red is the stuff that will be on the quiz. Like, all they have to do is stay awake long enough to write the words in red. And they couldn't even do that. So, like, whose fault is it then? Because every now and again, like, I know note taking is not anybody's favorite, but guess what? It's an important skill. It is an important skill. People use it in the business world all the time. All the friggin' time. And those meetings are boring as frig. And, like, learn a skill that you can actually use, and then use said skill in a reasonable way. Anyway, and these kids want to blame me for not waking them up when they're the ones who fell asleep. And it's like, because one of them was like, I need to copy this other student's notes. And I'm like, no, you don't. He shouldn't have even let you see his notes because it's a quiz that involves you having paid attention yesterday. And she's like, well, you didn't wake me up. And I'm like, you darn right I didn't wake you up. Like, you didn't think it was important enough to take notes yesterday. Why you think it's important enough today? Like, you can't have it both ways. Ridiculous. So, yeah, that's how far the shoe is on the other foot, is that kids blame you for not waking them up for the important parts of their education. And not only that, and this is not a new thing. This is an ongoing thing where students tell me that I talk too much when I'm giving them vital information. Like, granted, I can go on a rant. I can go on a tear. Don't even fret about that. Like, obviously I could do that. But also, I can give you vital information that's going to be on a test, or that you're going to be writing a paper about, or tell you how to write a freaking paper in the first place. Oh, I didn't realize it was going to get late. I didn't realize this freaking squid was going to commit suicide on my bridge. Squid. Oh my God, you moron. You can't get through there. It's stone. Squid. Anyway. But yeah, like, and today, just the level of rudeness and disrespect And the number of lies, yeah, the number of lies that they told, like, I'm telling you, I'd be better off teaching kindergarten, uh, because, I get more respect, and they wouldn't lie as much. Some kid tell me something ridiculous like, my uncle landed on Mars, and I'd be like, that sounds cool, Timmy. You're less of a liar than a high school freshman. Um, swear to God, these kids. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just very frustrated. I know this is a terrible episode. Ain't no reason you should listen to this episode.
This episode is
Yeah, it's not even for me to go back and listen to. It's not going to be satisfying. You think I'm going to be satisfied listening to this? Hey, Dingus, turn it off. You don't have to finish every episode. Oh, yeah, I don't have anything to throw away. You don't have to finish every episode. You're medicated now. You can turn it off. This one is not going anywhere. It's not getting any better from here on out. Anyway, just pure bullcrap. And, I just, it's such a pain. And, like, I'm just filled with anxiety every day because, I got to put up with these kids who drive me nuts on purpose. On purpose. Like, they will go out of their way to find things, to find ways to be just the worst. Like, one of them, like, she's just constantly with a smile and a laugh, constantly bringing up the fact that I am being disciplined, which, like, is, partially her fault, that's happening in the first place. And so, like, I it's just unbearable. And honest to God, I would never treat anyone the way that these kids treat me on a daily basis. And for why do they treat me like this? Because I'm their teacher. Because I'm their teacher. That's why they treat me like this on a daily basis. Like, I can't even imagine what it must be like to be that big of an asshole. Like, that much of a self-centered, entitled asshole. I can't even imagine. Because I wasn't raised like that. I'm not from this generation. And, like, look, I don't want to be old man standing on the lawn being like, this generation, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of good kids in this generation. Amazing kids who are going to do great things. And there are a lot of kids in this generation who make me think that if a planet killer asteroid smashed into the Earth and destroyed all of humanity and all evidence that humanity had ever existed in the first place, that it would not be a great loss. So, take your pick. Because that's it. They got both. They got both kinds now. And honestly, like, it's not much space in between. Like, there's not a lot of kids that are like, I could take him or leave him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's either like, my God, you give me such hope for the future, and like, my God, how did you get to be such a jerk? I mean, one of them, I took away her phone yesterday because she had it out multiple times and lied about it constantly to my face and was a real jerk about it. And so I took her phone, sent it to the office. She knows she shouldn't have it out. This is not our first go round on this business, and not the first time that I've taken her phone and sent it to the office, by the way. She knows. She knows by now. Anyway, so first thing I walk in, she's like, I'm mad at you. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, you got me in trouble. I was like, no, I didn't. She's like, yeah, you did. I was like, oh, so it was me that forced you to have your phone out during class multiple times when you know for a fact that you shouldn't have it out ever? You know? Like, this is what we're dealing with. And then she was one of the ones who also accused me of being terrible because I didn't wake her up for notes. And it's like, you know what? If you can't stay awake for notes, then you don't deserve to have them for the quiz. Like, that's plain and simple. Plain and simple. Anyway, I'm just fed up with these kids, fed up with their ridiculousness, and, wish that I didn't have to teach them. I'd have a lot more freaking hope for humanity if I wasn't teaching freshmen, because freshmen aren't even really human. They're not people yet. They're not fully formed. They're not even partially formed. It's like they still got this soft spot in their freaking head like a baby, Like they ain't even real. They ain't even real. And yet, like, I guarantee you, like, here's some things I can guarantee you. Number one, those girls were delighted to have pissed me off. Like, could not have been happier to have made me angry. And I can't even imagine that. Like, my parents didn't raise me that way. Like, honest to God, if I mistreated a teacher at all, which I never did, by the way, never. But if I mistreated a teacher, my parents would have beat my ass. And then they would have taken me to the school to apologize. And if I didn't, they would have beat my ass in front of the teacher. And I'm not even joking. Like, my parents did not mess around when it came to education. And, like, they were not unique. They were not unique for my generation. Anyway, it's a different time. This is a different time. And so what have we got now? We got politicians sticking their nose all up in everything. People who haven't been in a classroom since 1987. And those are the young senators. Quote unquote young. And, haven't been in a classroom since 1987, and they want to be like, well, I think that the parents should be able to review every single lesson before it gets taught. And it's like, shut the frick up. Your parents didn't do that, and look at how you grew up. You grew up to be a real douchebag. Like, I guarantee if, like, because honestly, what they really want is for us to teach douchebaggery openly in the classroom. Be like, hey, don't be a nice person, be a douchebag. Be like these friggin' senators, talk about how much you love freedom in America and then do everything you can to undermine both at the same time. Times we living in, people. Like, it out, demon, is rough out there. Is rough out there. And like, these times have given so many people so much pessimism. Like, it's just hard to keep your chin up in these times because, like, one of the more interesting things that I've seen is that COVID has made everybody more cruel, heartless, and self-centered. And I see that on a regular basis. I mean, yeah, I know what that's all about because I see it. It's there for me every day. But yeah, people became more self-centered because they, were spending time in isolation. And, like, spent time thinking about themselves and their needs and not the needs of others. And then, have just become more callous and cruel when dealing with other people. People have just lost their ability to have empathy toward their fellow human beings, and it's sad. It's tragic. Because like some of these kids who are such assholes are actually reasonably smart, and could actually do something, but like they're assholes. I mean, the world doesn't need that many personal injury lawyers. Like, we've got enough. We've all seen the billboards. There are a lot of personal injury lawyers. So, like, we don't need that many more assholes in the world. And I swear to you, like, I try my level best to not add, my own nonsense to the world asshole problem. Because I do have some tendencies. I will freely admit to that. But you know what? Like, come on, give me something. Nothing. These guys in their ridiculous armor. Anyway, but even though I have my tendencies and I have my good days and I have my bad days, I also have my limits. And there are places these kids will go that I would never. I would be ashamed. I would be ashamed to treat someone like that. Like, I've never been the kind of guy, like, I've gotten poor service in a lot of places, and I've gotten, I've legitimately had complaints that I need to lodge about people and what they are doing in their job. I've even had to fire people in a previous life, That's the thing. I had to hire people, I had to fire people. It's true. And so, I know a little of that world. And, I would never, like, I hate the idea of people losing a job over anything. And so, like, I'm the kind of guy where, like, you could mess up my order in a restaurant. I will not send it back. I will just not eat. Like, honestly, I will just push the food to the side and be like, put a freaking what you call it, a napkin over it, and just be like, nope, I'm full. I've had all that I need to have, and we are good. Because I don't want to get somebody in trouble. Some, idiot who is barely competent at their job, who, like, clearly messed up my food, is still not the sort of person that I want to get in trouble at work. I never want to get anybody in trouble at work. And so it boggles my mind, the idea that, like, you would have a teacher that maybe you don't vibe with as much. And that goes, like, I know that I'm not going to be everybody's favorite. Now, granted, I am some people's absolute favorite, like, part of that comes with being the drama teacher. Part of that comes with being the honors English teacher, Like, those are classes that tend to be some kids' favorites. Freshman English, rarely anyone's favorite. And I guarantee you know whose favorite it's not? The freaking teacher. Anyway. So, yeah, I just, I can't imagine, though, like, being that big of a jerk. Because, like, I was raised to respect my elders. I was raised to treat teachers with respect. I was raised to be polite. In a word, I was raised with politeness as a moral precept. You know, be nice to other people. Why? Because you freaking should. Why wouldn't you? You know, like that's is a moral precept I was raised with. Be nice to other people because you should. I mean, granted, it was more like because Jesus was nice, and it's like, well, nice for Jesus, but like, you know, the rest of us are going to be nice because it benefits society as a whole if we all just agree that like we should freaking be nice. Anyway, I'm just going to walk over here like 128 blocks so that these idiots can despawn. Anyway, but yeah, I remember one day in class, I was trying to teach them the concept of being kind to others. Like, just be kind. What have you got to lose? And they'd be talking about, like, nope, whatever people give to me, that's what I give back. And I'm like, whoa, what if you misread the situation? I never do. Like, oh, you sure about that? Yeah, 100%. And if they want to fight, I'll fight them. And it's like, what is wrong with you? You know, but it's this, you know, high individualistic concept that like, I am the one who matters the most. And if other people don't get that, then then I'm going to have to fight them. You know, like that's literally how some of these kids feel about the world. And I mean, granted, we have ruined them. Like this generation, so many of them are just absolutely ruined. First of all, no generation has more anxiety and depression. And that is something that we have put into them. Why? Well, haven't you seen the crap that's been coming out about Facebook and Instagram and all the social medias where they were like, yeah, we know we are wrecking people's lives, but we don't give a crap because we are making fantastical amounts of money. You know, we're making enough money to make God cry, you know, and we are not giving up on that just because, you know, like millions upon millions of teenage girls grow up feeling worthless and alone and sad. Like, psh, like we can do anything about that. Oh, but you could. You legitimately could because you are the cause of so much of that pain and suffering. Anyway, hold up. I gotta check a thing. Just don't know how many ways I can say that I'm fed up and that I'm disappointed and that I'm depressed and disheartened and like how disappointing it is to know that if these asshole students had access to this video, which they could probably pretty easily find, that they would be delighted to know that they made me feel bad in the slightest. Because that's the kind of people that they are. And, like, yeah. And I mean, you know, respect is a two-way street. People say that all the time. And it's true. And from day one of that class, I have gone out of my way to show those students respect, and to try to give them a good educational experience. But as I have repeatedly found, they do not respond to that. That's not their style. It's not what they do. It's not what they're into. It's not what they care about. And, you know, in the back of my mind, I was hear the nagging refrains of like, well, a good teacher would ba ba ba, and a good teacher would da da do, and a good teacher would burp da do. Okay, so call me a not good teacher. All right, wouldn't be the first friggin' time. Wouldn't be the first time this week, and this week is young. Honestly, just trying to do a job, and quite frankly, I will tell you that if you want to label me a bad teacher, you're gonna have to go through my drama kids. You're gonna have to go through my honors English kids, who think otherwise. Who think otherwise very strongly. We're talking kids who, I mean, honestly, when they heard that I was potentially going to get disciplined, and we'll friggin' see if I ever do, see if they remember to do that. Anyway, but if I get if I get suspended, which at this point better happen, because I want to go fishing. I want 2 days off. I was promised 2 days off. And holy freak, you better, if I have to go through the pain of putting up with all these freshmen, give me an extra couple days off. You owe me that at this point. I've been doing you favors that you haven't recognized, that you have not appreciated, and that you won't appreciate. And so, yeah, I would consider it, a benefit at this point. 2 days away from those people, yes, please. Please and thank you. Anyway. And so, I've just got that hanging over my head. But, I have drama kids who were saying this, and I have honors kids who were saying it. Quite frankly, my honors kids said it first. Sorry, drama kids. But it's true. That they were like, well, if you get suspended, we're not showing up to school for those 2 days. And I was like, I don't want you shortchanging your education on my account. If you think that's what I want you to do, you don't know me at all. But I told him, it was I appreciate shows of solidarity, shows that you care, because I ain't doing this for anybody else. Is the students who make it worth it. And that's why teaching freshmen is so inherently frustrating, is that is true. The only reason any teacher teaches is because of the students. Well, what if your students suck? What if they're terrible people? What then? What then? Because some students are terrible people. Actually, I'll tell you this. I thank my lucky stars every freaking day that I'm not teaching the kids from the next town over, because those kids are the most entitled little brats I've ever seen in my goddamn life. They are some of the worst people, and that's just based on my interactions with them from the library when I used to work there. Holy crap, these kids... The next town over, shoo, get the frig out. You couldn't pay me enough. You could not pay me enough. And, so the fact that I get to put up with 2 classes worth of good kids, I should feel good about that. But I'll tell you, here's how every teacher feels, and this is a fact. And so if you are a student right now, you friggin' listen up to what I'm about to say, because it is true. Your teachers will feel that their teaching day went however their fourth hour went. And I know that, like, people talk about, like, oh, what makes a good goalie in hockey, or a good quarterback in football, or you got to have a short memory. You let in a goal you shouldn't have. You got to have a short memory. You throw a pick six that you wish you hadn't. Of course, you wish you hadn't is a pick six, and you threw it. You got to have a short memory. You got to hop right back out there and know that you're going to throw for completions, right? And people talk about that, like, you gotta rejoice in the things that go well, and not focus on the ones that don't. Okay, I heard you. I understand the concept. That sounds pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie to you, sounds pretty sweet. But here's the problem. Here is the problem with that, is that when you are a teacher, it is very personal. It's why when I listen to stand-up comedians talk about their lives, it really resonates. A comedian will tell you that you're only as funny as your last set. The last time that you went up and performed comedy, how did it go? Because if it didn't go well, then you're not funny. Which is kind of ridiculous to say, because obviously, there's video footage of the late, great Norm Macdonald performing for an audience of people who did not get him and did not understand him and did not appreciate him in the slightest, and quite frankly didn't deserve him. And like, a guy like Norm Macdonald, you would like to think was bulletproof, that he couldn't be affected by a bad show. But I bet he could, because part of what's broken in comedians is that they need the approval of others in order to, feel whole and complete and whatnot. And teachers have a similar screw loose. It's not the exact same one. It's kind of hard to put a finger on, because if we did it for the adulation, mason jar full of Starbursts once a year is not even full of Starbursts. Like, I wish it was full of Starbursts. It's like 8 Starbursts and a pen, and that's what we get during Teacher Appreciation Week, and we feel so appreciated. Like, honestly, you want to appreciate us a little more? Tequila. Especially if we teach freshmen. If we teach freshmen, you buy us the good shit. Anyway, but yeah, is, we have a similar screw loose, because no one in the right mind, like, people go into teaching for all kinds of reasons, but there's really only one reason why you can stay in teaching, because most teachers will leave the profession within their first 5 years. That is fact. And it has nothing to do with pay. Nothing. It'd be so easy if we could just say, like, well, just pay him better and then maybe they'll stick around. Which, have you thought about that? Have you thought about paying him better? Because it's worth a shot. You definitely haven't tried it. You definitely have not tried it. No, trust me. You think you have not. Anyway, but yeah, like, So, if we were doing it for the adulation, that almost never comes, you know. Uh, and when it does, it's like it is like Bill Belichick winning a Super Bowl. It's like, oh, thanks. Let me take this trophy and put it somewhere so I can get some friggin' work done. You know, um, like if you've ever watched Bill Belichick win it all, that man immediately goes into like, oh, well, frig, I got work to do. And, any teacher winning an award is going to be the same way. You're going to be like, oh, crap, I got, like, how long is this banquet? I got to get, like, I got slides I got to put together for tomorrow's class. That's just how it is. And, so the adulation, it comes so rarely. And for some teachers, it doesn't come often enough given how much they sacrifice, how much good they do. And quite frankly, like, think about this. Think about every movie that you have ever seen about an amazing teacher. How's that teacher's home life in that movie? It's always terrible, huh? Always terrible. Like, because they're sacrificing so much, including the home life for their wife and kids, just to be a good teacher. So, like, you go above and beyond for somebody else's kids. You ain't got no gas in the tank left when you get home. It is sad and pathetic, and, like, quite frankly, I'm glad that I still have anything left for my kids when I get home. But yeah, so you can't be doing it for the adulation. That ain't it. Can't be doing it for the money. That ain't it. You don't get that many laughs. People don't love teacher jokes. Can't be for the clapping that people do. No, you can't fill that void in our soul with applause. And so you know what it is. And you can take this the cynical route, or you can take this the non-cynical route, and quite frankly, that's your decision. Now, you could take it the cynical route and say, like, okay, well, a teacher is someone who hasn't amounted to jack crap in their life. They've made nothing but poor decisions. They went to college and were like, oh, what am I going to do? I'm just going to be a teacher because, I'm going to take the easy way out. Easy way out. It's friggin' hilarious. Anyway, and boop a doop. So yes, there we go. Yeah, anyway, so for comedians, like, is often that, like, I see a lot of the middle child in comedians. Like, I'm a middle child. Not saying I'm hilarious, because, like, y'all have heard my videos, but middle children raise themselves, because middle children are neglected, because the parents forget they friggin' have middle children. Like, that's the way it is when you're the middle child. And so many comedians have that middle child syndrome, where you just want to be noticed, you want to be recognized, you want to be have your presence felt, you want to be known, you want to be seen. And that's what's broken in comedians. And for teachers, I think it's something more slightly more abstract than that. It's kind of like this. Kids are always in the process of becoming, and they're going to become things, and you're going to get to be a part of their becoming process. That's what it is. And like, some people gravitate more toward the, like, you see that kid over there, like high school valedictorian. I'm the one who taught him his ABCs. I friggin' taught that boy to read. You know, some people like that end of it. Other people are like, hey, you see that kid over there, valedictorian? I'm the one who taught him how to think critically about the news and how to approach the world from a different point of view, how to be aware of your own cognitive biases and how to check your filters and how to, live a more authentic life, both in terms of what the existentialists would have called an authentic life, your Heidegger style being towards death, but also, an authentic life, a life that you can be proud of, a life that you can feel good about, regardless of whether or not there's a lot of dollar signs that follow in your wake. Anyway, being able to be a part of a kid's life, because I'll tell you this, Mrs. Willis, my high school drama teacher, was transformative. The fact that she believed in me and put faith in me and let me grow the way that I did over the course of 4 years in her classes. I owe that woman so much, that can never be repaid. And the idea that any kid might feel that way about my contribution to their life is humbling, and it's not that I want to always be able to say, like, oh, you wouldn't be jack crap if it weren't for me. Like, look at where you are now, like, because how many times do you see, people achieving great things in life? And then how many times do you see those people being like, and it's all thanks to my high school English teacher, or whatever. Like, very rarely do you see that kind of nonsense go down, because it should be rare, like, yeah, parents should take a front seat there and others should take a front seat there. It's fine. I'm not, like, embittered that it's not always, the teacher getting all the credit. But, like, for teachers is a lot quieter and a lot more, like, internal. I'll give you for example, like, I told this story before. My high school English teacher, my senior English teacher, brilliant woman, who just should have been somewhere else. With a mind like that, should have been somewhere else. But she was teaching us in a little cowpoke town, middle of nowhere, and she brought such professionalism to what she did, and she was so great at it. Well, I've said before, my mom ran into her one time, and she had saved something that I wrote while I was in high school, and, like, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me to know that she did that, and to know that the reason why she did is because things that I wrote when I was in high school made this woman, whose son is a published author. She has a son who has written multiple books which have, received a decent amount of critical acclaim. Although, like, bajillion books get published every year, and so it's hard to, like, rise to the top of that game. But he does all right for himself. And he, like, has written some interesting books. And she saved my writing. It means a lot to me. And, like, so what's her payoff there? What's her payoff with me? She didn't know I'd become an English teacher. She had no idea. Of course, she was delighted to find that out. But, I doubt very much, like, because I could tell you I don't have much hope that my students will grow up to be high school English teachers. It's not a life that most people are suited for, quite frankly. But regardless, the idea that you can contribute, that you can bring something positive in the lives of people, and my God, let's get back to these stupid freshmen. Like, that's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. Like, if these idiots would let me make a contribution to their life, I would. But they don't want to let me. They don't want to let me talk in my own classroom, and that is a fact. They have said as much with both their words and their actions. And it's hard to feel like they even deserve to have me. I say quite frankly a lot. It's my go-to phrase, and I'm very self-conscious about how often I say quite frankly. Anyway, but yeah, go out of your way to teach these kids. They try to get you fired. That's a fair trade-off, like. And it's funny because, like, my TA is senior kid, so chill, so relatively normal. He was asking me, he's like, you ever had a class this bad before? And I'm like, oh yeah, this ain't even the worst. This ain't even the worst one. Which is true. It's not. This is not even the worst freshman class I've ever had. Not even close. Distant second. Like, distant second place. You guys don't even get to bring home the terrible trophy for being the most terrible freshman class I've ever had. And all I wanted to do since day one is be the sort of person who makes any sort of positive difference in their life. And they don't want it. They don't want it from me. They might not want it from anybody. And yeah, that's what's disheartening about it. And in much the same way, it's like a comedian where you're like, I just came to make you laugh. Like, that's all I wanted was to make you laugh. And now you're yelling stuff at me and throwing stuff at me and, like, trying to come on stage and physically hurt me because, I'm not a fan of the local sports team or whatever. Like, comedians know what it is to, be trying to bring something where you're like, hey, if you get on board, this will be a good time. And then people will be like, we are not on board. And also, another connection between teaching and comedy. And this one comes from Mike Birbiglia. is that, comedy is very personal. And so when people are saying boo to you at a comedy show, they are saying boo to you as a person. Because that's what you come out as. You come out as you, the person. And if they don't like it, then they are telling you, like, we have seen what you are bringing as a human being, and we say no. We are all full up on what you are bringing to the table. Please take it back to the kitchen. Like, yeah. And so that's what I get from a daily basis. Like, I'm just every day going into this classroom to bomb in front of a hostile Philadelphia style crowd that is just hoping that you bomb so they can lay into you. Ooh. Where's the kitty? Where's the kitty? Oh my god. Oh. I wish you could hear this kitty's tiny meows that she's laying down. She is like making the cutest little tiny meows at me, which means she wants cuddles and loves. She wants me to pick her up. She wants to be my antidepressant because she is such a lovely kitty. Like, I just love it when people hate on cats. Oh, cats are the worst. It's like, you understand that they bring comfort to some people, right? Like, you understand that some people really love them as much as you love your dog. Because if you hate cats that much, ain't no way you're not a dog person. Anyway, regardless, I should close this up. I should, give loves to my kitty. Oh, crap. I gotta get back. Get back, JoJo. Get all the way back to my island before the sun goes down, but I might as well finish this row. I'm going to pick up this kitty. I'm going to give her love. She's going to give me love. Or cuddle each other. I'm going to pet her, and she's going to, like, knead the dough on my beard, which is what she does. Like, you know how kitties knead the dough? That's, like, she does that on my beard, and that's where she likes to be. And, yeah. That's what we're going to do. It's going to be delightful. Anyway, you got to have ways of coping. And playing Minecraft and talking about how crappy people are to me is part of my way of coping. And hopefully next semester I'll be like, oh, I've got juniors, it's fine. But that ain't even necessarily guaranteed. Because, like, one of the kids that I'm going to have next semester is a kid who was in that all-time worst freshman class, and he's the one who hit his wax vape. I was handing around a tub of highlighters to be like, here, grab some highlighters. We're going to do some highlighting so that you can identify a little bit of this and a little bit of that, sometimes when I have them, highlight like pros and cons or things like that. Just 2 colors of highlighters, simple thing. A lot of English teachers do it. So tub of highlighters going around. This kid takes the opportunity to like put his wax vape into the tub of highlighters, act like he's fumbling around for highlighters, and then vape the marriage of Wana in my class. And it's like, bruh, what is wrong with your brain? I mean, the weed alone couldn't have done that to you, because that is a special kind of stupid. But also a special kind of disrespect. Like, how disrespectful you gotta be. You trying to smoke weed in the middle of a freshman English class. Anyway, that's not even the worst thing that anybody did in that class. Had to, write up a kid for sexually harassing another kid in that class. uh, one of those kids tried to burn the alternative school to the ground, and partially succeeded. You know, it was a rough crowd. So yeah, I have I had worse than the freshman I got now. Yeah, and like I don't know how I did it. That was before I was medicated. Like how do you even begin? Anyway, ladies and gents, I'm medicated now. I've got kitties now. I'm tougher than diamonds, and I'm rich like cream. Just kidding. I ain't rich. The teacher, we talked about this, but I am Rem Pemberton of the Clemson Pembertons. And hey, it ain't always going to be like this. It ain't always going to be like this. Some days it's going to be better. Anyway, people, that's it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Oh, back to the infinite regression first. Sorry, I forget my manners. Gotta take you back to where sadness and sorrow dwell. Because, like, I'm trying to release it. I'm trying to release my sadness and sorrow back into the wild. Give it back from whence it came. Anyway, that's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.